that we call home, and it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive.
Good Monday night, guys. This is the Indy Kid coming at you with a little Cruton talk tonight. Just taking over for VAWLS JP this week. So he's not able to do it. So I'm going to kind of jump in here, kind of talk numbers, talk what the numbers look, what the roster will look like and stuff. But before we get into that, guys, just make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit subscribe, drive that algorithm, drive the analytics, drive that data so we can get that channel out to more people. We appreciate all you subscribers, appreciate the new subscribers, the old subscribers, all alike. Very humbling and very appreciative. But just want to bring you a video tonight, and hopefully can bring some videos each night here, as Boogie's been killing it lately, just dropping video after video and basically carrying us on his back. So I got to thinking, kind of need to help old Boogie out a little bit and drive some more algorithm on the channel here. So I'm going to try to bring some stuff each evening. Won't be able to bring anything Thursday, as I do have tickets to go to Columbia to watch our VAWLS and Gamecocks play baseball, as well as Saturday, hopefully going to watch the VAWLS win an SEC championship. But let's get into it. We're talking football tonight, and just want to kind of get into recruiting, as Tennessee with another commitment today. Boogie put out a video on that earlier today. If you haven't already, make sure you check that out. It's regarding offensive lineman Brian Grant out of Florida, who committed. According to 24/7, there's no ranking on him right now. I know I've seen the comments that his coach said, he has a ton of potential right there. And that's kind of a lot of what Tennessee's commitments are at this point. They have 5 commitments right now. Currently ranked 39th nationally, 12th in the SEC, according to 24/7 Sports. Now, is that, where we hope they end up or anything? Absolutely not. But, right now, based on what they've taken over, the uncertainty with the allegations and the violations and stuff, I don't think we can expect a whole lot more. Just that short amount of time they've had to recruit, that short amount of time they've had to build those relationships and things of that nature. Now, I do think they've started off a little slower than previous staffs have, but I think things will pick up when there's on-campus visits as well. That's a big thing right now that I think is really hurting them, as you really can't have those on-campus visits yet, but that's just around the corner. And I fully expect, I think this is a staff that will be very personable. I think it's a staff that will be able to build those relationships. And, these guys seem to truly love being at the University of Tennessee. These coaches that are there, and I really believe they'll sell that to them as well. And I think that'll make a big difference. And I know I was reading earlier about how they did the Tennessee takeover, where every coach on staff has a part of the state that is theirs, and about how they reached out to every high school in the state, made those relationships, introduced themselves because they haven't had that chance to. Tried to see, are there any guys who are under the radar that they don't know about and things of that nature. But I think that'll pay off in due time. Not sure how immediate that will be, as in-state recruiting has kind of suffered a little bit so far. But the good thing is there's basically 7 months till the early signing day, and then there's 9 months till national signing day. So they've got plenty of time. And, at this point in time with Tennessee football, the main thing that's going to get recruits is winning games. That's basically what it's going to boil down to, because it's, we've said it for years. They've been in good shape with this guy, that guy, and what happens? I mean, there was plenty of guys last year they were in good shape with that they didn't get or what have you. End up going elsewhere because of the season that they had. The allegations didn't help any. Either the coaching change didn't help any either, but coaching change doesn't happen if it's not for the crappy year that they had last year. But just looking at the roster, and just want to kind of break down the numbers. Obviously, you've got that hard 25 cap right there. Now, there's ways around it in certain instances, but I don't know of a year recently where Tennessee has not signed their 25, so they're not able to back count right there. And depending on, if they take any more transfers, that's going to go towards the 22. I apologize, guys. I'm really struggling with my words tonight. But if they take any more transfers, if I'm not mistaken, at this point, it'll go towards 2022. So what you're looking at is 25. You've got 5 guys committed right now. Obviously, they're not signed. Long way till signing day. So, who knows if they end up in the fold. Hopefully they do. Hopefully these guys, grow, progress around that amount of time. But just look at the numbers now. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys who are contributors, who are scholarship guys listed as redshirt seniors. So I think this is it for them. They're not going to have that extra year eligibility. And then there's another 11 listed as seniors. No red shirt or anything like that. So I'm curious to see how that works out if they still have that. If it's that COVID year, if it doesn't count against them, are these guys planning on going out? Or are they seniors? Guys like Cade Mays, Carvin, Bumpus, Matt Butler, Aubrey Solomon, Theo Jackson, Hendon Hooker, Alante Taylor, Trayvon Flowers. All these guys are just listed as seniors right there. So just going by what we have here, the biggest need is going to be defensive line. And there's no doubt about that. There's 5 guys listed as either seniors or redshirt seniors. And all these guys are in the 2 deep, and they contribute right there. Obviously, they've brought in some reinforcements on the line, and this is not even counting Caleb Tremblay because, if I'm not mistaken, he only has 1 year left as well. So that's going to be 6 right there. The roster I'm looking at from UT Sports, so it doesn't reflect the transfers as of this point. Not the guys who have come in recently. Now, it does reflect the guys who went through spring practice there, but that's at least 6 defensive linemen. That's a huge need. I would think they're going to go. Obviously, you want to bring in some high school guys. I don't know if they're done with the portal, if they can get the right guys for this year. And I would imagine they're going to look JUCO ranks. And, this portal's, I think it's here to stay. That's going to be a big part of teams recruiting. So are they going to fill up on high school and junior college guys? I don't think so. I don't think they were going to fill up on that moving forward. I think it's going to be a case you save a few spots for those transfers. And, transfers could be any position. If it's a guy that can help you win, you take them. It doesn't matter what position. That was my one criticism, or not my one. I had plenty of the previous staff, but what baffled me and blew my mind each year was how they did not address the quarterback spot through the portal or through transfers. They brought in Keller Christ, who, in my opinion, looked much better than Jarrett Garantano, but they didn't give him that opportunity. Next year, it didn't even address transfer, and that could have been – there was guys who could have come in and improved that position so much. I mean, it still ended up an 8-5 year. And then they, same thing this year. Didn't address it, and it really bit them. It bit them badly this year, and I think that was a big flaw. Obviously, they were addressing that with Hendon Hooker because the previous staff brought him in. Now Josh Heupel's already addressed it by bringing in Joe Milton. So, there's probably going to be some attrition at the quarterback spot there. It's just natural. There's going to be attrition in other positions as well. That's just the nature of college sports. There's guys who aren't going to be getting the playing time they want, or, there may be something family related, emergency related, and they'll transfer. It's just the way it is. Not every guy's a quitter that leaves. Sometimes it's, you got to go home. And that's, there are guys who quit on the program this year. There's no doubt in my mind. But it is what it is. And, we need to focus time on those guys who did choose to stay, those guys who are coming in from other schools now in the portal that are coming in wanting to be a part of this build. So looking at the numbers right there, I think you've got out of 25. So right now you've got Taven Jackson, quarterback. You got Brody Foley, tight end. You got Vincent Sneed, defensive line. Elijah Herring, outside linebacker. And Brian Grant, offensive tackle. So definitely a mix right there. I don't know that they take another quarterback. I mean, if what happens if a Ty Simpson or somebody wants in, I think they would have a hard time turning that down. I don't see it happening, though. and I just make that statement with nothing saying it's going to happen. I think at that point they would, but I think Taven Jackson's your guy right there. Happy to have him in the fold. Some definitely positive feedback for him. I don't know if they go with another tight end. I know there's talks on that, but there are guys on campus in that position. If I'm looking at it now, tight end, there are. Let's see, you got Austin Pope, redshirt senior, Princeton Fant, redshirt senior, Jacob Warren, Miles Campbell, and Trinity Bell's not listed on here. I think he could. So I don't know. Maybe Tennessee does go another tight end right there because you got two guys leaving, and you just had, three other guys coming in transfer out. And so there may be that hole right there. And, who knows who else could move around or move to that position potentially. But, I think obviously you got Elijah Herring in the fold right now. I have to think linebacker is a huge need for this class. So, number one, you've got a quarterback. I think you don't, unless you just have a mass exodus at quarterback, I don't think you add any more than Jackson right there. And I would even say if you have to add another one, I'll wait and go portal right there, because if you're wanting to add two quarterbacks, that tells me maybe, well, number one, if you don't have depth there, number two, maybe whoever's quarterbacking is not getting the job done. So, I think you always leave a spot, unless you've got that stud quarterback, I think you leave a spot for the portal just in case, because you never know who's going to be available. There's been some great quarterbacks available in that portal. But running back, if I'm looking at running backs here right now, Tyon Evans, Jabari Small, D. Beckwith, Lenneth Whitehead, which I'm still, if I'm Whitehead, I'm saying move me to defense. Because right now, based on injuries and everything, he's down the chart. Who knows when he gets healthy, though? And T. Hodge, that's another one, and Jalen Wright. So there's 6 running backs. None of them are any more than a sophomore there. So maybe you add another one. I don't think it hurts to add any depth, definitely just in case you have to move guys' positions. And there's a few guys who are candidates for that as well. Already addressed quarterbacks right there, wide receiver. You're losing Bayless Jones. And that's really it, unless you get some transfers right there. One speculation I've seen, I'll address that, is that, maybe Malachi Wideman. I've heard the comments, be surprised if he's on campus this fall. Hopefully he is. I know it's a guy with a ton of potential, but we'll see what happens there. But I don't think that I don't think wide receiver is a huge need, but still I think you add 1 to 2 there. So you're looking at 1 quarterback, maybe a running back, 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. I would go that. So there's 6 spots. You need offensive line. I think it's pretty reasonable that you're losing Riley Locklear. Calvert is a redshirt senior. Cade Mays is a senior. Those 3 guys are gone. Mays isn't going to be coming back. He's going to be drafted next year. Jerome Carvin, would be interested to see, what his decision is there. And then do they have any other guys who may transfer out or, any attrition there? So I think you sign maybe 4 to 5 offensive linemen is a good number on that, because most of the line I'm looking at behind who was mentioned, obviously you still have Darnell Wright. You have Cooper Mays. There's not a lot of proven guys on that line. There are guys with potential on there, but I think 4 to 5 offensive linemen, that's putting you around 10, 11 guys. Defensive line, I think easily 5 to 6 dudes right there. I think easily 5 to 6. Linebacker, this team has a lot of needs. So maybe my numbers may be high on line. Maybe you go 3 to 4 on it. Maybe you don't go too many at receiver. You don't go too many at tight end. But they need defensive line help, and I really think they need linebackers as well. Just kind of looking at linebackers, you've got Solon Page, who's a redshirt senior, and then Jeremy Banks will be back. Byron Young, I don't know that Aaron Beasley will be back. I think that one's pretty questionable. Roman Harrison, Tyler Barron still listed as a linebacker. I think he's going to be more of a lineman. Same with Morven Joseph. Be interested to see where he's at, but he's only listed at 215 pounds. So I don't see him moving down the line. But Bryson Eason he's a lineman at this point, 6'2", 275. Martavius French, transfer portal. Aaron Willis, from what I understand, Josh Heupel made comments that those guys who are suspended are still working their way back. And it sounds like it may not be long before they are reinstated. So based on that, yeah, you need some linebackers. You've got Elijah Herring. I would think you need at least a few more, and you need some studs too. You want some guys you can develop also, but you want some guys who can come in and contribute immediately. There also, you've got your one defensive line commitment with Vincent Sneed, 6'4", 231, so they could easily beef him up right there. I think you look at, again, 3 to 4 linebackers, defensive backs. That's an interesting one here as well because you got Kenneth George, redshirt senior, Cheyenne LaBruzza, redshirt senior. Now you got Trayvon Flowers, Alante Taylor, Theo Jackson, all seniors. What do those guys do? Do they use a COVID year, or do they go? If they do go, that's 5 seniors right there. You're going to have to replace those dudes right there because the depth behind it, a lot of young, unproven guys right there. So where do they go? What happens there? There's a lot of holes to fill in this class. And so, again, if my numbers are right, 1 quarterback, 1 running back, maybe 1 to 2 wide receivers, 1 to 2 tight ends. We'll say max on that and go 6. 4 offensive linemen, that puts you at 10. And then you're looking at, I think, easily 5 defensive linemen, probably 3 to 4 linebackers, and 3 to 4 defensive backs. So that would put you anywhere from, depending on it, could put you anywhere from around 20 to 23. And but I think also you've got to leave those spots open for the portal right there. I don't think there's any doubt you do, especially with what you're losing potentially in the defensive backfield and on the defensive line. So, the scary thing about it is a lot of people are worried about the defense this coming year. Look at what all we may possibly lose off of it as well. I think we got to look at it with this defensive staff is progression, improvement. Where are they when they start? Where are they at the end of the year? Are they making improvements, or are they regressing? Or are they just kind of staying in line? What's going on there? But that's a little bit, not trying to paint a bleak outlook on it, but these guys have taken over a load, and just upwards of, I think I counted closer to like 27 guys who could have been a part of this team this year left the program. Some who would have contributed majorly, some who wouldn't have, but still, that's a ton of guys who left. And I think what Tennessee's going to have, they're going to have a stellar offense. They're going to have to put points on the board to win a lot of games. And I could go over the schedule or what have you. There's different outlooks there, but I really want to see how this staff develops players, because that's going to depend. That's really going to depend on what they do numbers-wise. Who can you develop? Can you develop some of these younger guys, some of these underclassmen, or are you relying heavily on all these seniors that I mentioned right there? But I think it's an interesting breakdown. I'm really interested to see how they use the numbers on it with so many needs, because you've got to have offensive linemen. You've got to replenish that every year with a few guys. Defensive line, I feel like I don't know what's happened there. Or I know what's happened. I don't really understand it, why it's gone the way it is. And it just kind of seems like it was all bunched together. Maybe there's been some transfers added along the way, but I don't know. There's been a gap somewhere in that. So hopefully some of these guys who are younger can develop. And they got a great defensive line coach to do it there as well. But, same with defensive backs. I'm curious to see how these guys are developing. It'd be nice. I'm curious to see how this COVID year works out as well. Do some of these guys take that year, or are they considered really kind of a redshirt junior this year? Maybe they take that year or what. But I know Flowers should have some time potentially left because he's been injured. And so can he come back or not? We'll see about that. But But that's what I put together on that. And again, make sure you're on the lookout. Again, if you haven't heard it earlier, Brian Grant, offensive lineman out Florida, committed. Boogie did a video on that, so check that out if you haven't already. Apologize for the long video here. Just a lot to break down with the recruiting, where the numbers go, what they're doing. I know Boogie will drop something either in the morning or mid-afternoon. Just depends on it. Is there any kind of news? Is it a recruiting profile? He's been hitting those recruiting profiles there as well. And then tomorrow night, I'm going to drop some on basketball recruiting. There's been a lot of news about visits. There's some potential big stuff going on there with basketball recruiting. Wednesday night, I'm going to preview the South Carolina series. I want to talk baseball recruiting. There's probably going to be some Tony Vitello rumors as they're flying right now, as he's going to be a hot commodity this offseason. But I appreciate you guys, if you made it this far, for staying with me. Make sure you check out the merch. That link's in the description below. It's scrolling around the bottom. Make sure you check out our merchandise right there. Make sure you check out what's the 29th. Not this coming Friday, but the following Friday, we're going to do a live National Championship 98 show. And yeah, we know it's been a long time, but just kind of be fun to do there. So I hope you guys can join us for that. But again, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe. We appreciate it, helping drive the analytics, driving the algorithm. Make sure you check out our content. We'll be live. Try to go live some this weekend, maybe for baseball. We'll see if we go live or if we shoot videos. But again, thanks for tuning in. You guys take care. On behalf of the Talkin VAWLS Network, this is the Indie Kid. Go VAWLS.